With JJK going on a nice 3 long week break, which is gonna suck, I want to go ahead and talk about the possibilities of what's gonna happen next, because we looks like before we go into the final stretch of battles and arcs, we're gonna have some downtime with Gojo coming back and linking up with our current crew. So let's just go ahead and get into what I think is going to transpire over these next batch of chapters. First up, I do think we're going to get some training with Yuji to kind of give him even more of a boost going into the final stretch, because with our main opponents being Kenjaku, Urame, and Sukuna, I just don't see anything Yuji can really do except for help team up in a battle. But I think he is going to get a boost in strength, or at least some extra techniques to really help him go up against our stronger opponents, and Gojo's definitely going to be the one to help him. I feel like Curse Energy Improvement is definitely going to be another assist for Yuji, maybe even refining the Divergent Fist even more and kind of making that be Yuji's new go-to move, because he hasn't really used it in a while. The last time he used it was in Shibuya, and I think he needs to use it again going forward, because I think that ability and that attack that he can learn and kind of learn how to manifest even more, especially like what it did to Mahito, I think it can really help, especially go up against someone with Sukuna who has multiple souls in him if he does fight him, or even Kenjaku. And I think Gojo will also help Yuji kind of learn how to obtain Sukuna's curse technique, because the fact that Gojo knows that Yuji is going to get this and he's finally back, I think he can now at this point teach Yuji how to do it, because now it seems like something Yuji has to awaken and kind of harness himself, rather than it kind of popping up and Yuji learning how to do it just off the rip. I feel like he's going to need to be taught and informed on how to really harness the curse energy that's lingering from Sukuna in his actual body. I also see Choso kind of helping out with that process as well, being like a opponent for Yuji, or maybe even teaching Yuji about potentially like maybe some stuff that he has harnessed in him, since he is a half human half curse hybrid like Choso. Maybe Choso can teach him some things in terms of how to draw out his full potential, and maybe even a blood technique that maybe he has hidden in him, or even teach him like a mini way of using flowing red scale. It's just, I see Choso being really helpful towards Yuji in this upcoming final battles. And I think going into a narrative perspective, we do need to see Gojo's reaction to the current deaths that we have. I think the biggest one is definitely going to be Yaga, because obviously we know Yaga was a big factor in getting people like Hikari to join the Jujutsu in Tokyo school and Kirara, and giving kind of like a philosophy for these kids to join in and to really understand like what they're doing as being a sorcerer, especially with this school compared to Kyoto, which is very traditional. They listen to the higher ups, to what it's supposed to at least. And you got Gakuganji there, who's pretty much a guy who goes directly to the higher ups. He's kind of like one of their dogs that they use. So I think Gojo learning about that is going to be pretty big. I feel like Panda is going to be the character that's going to have to tell him about what happened and how it transpired, and even probably Gakuganji be in there. Now I am interested in seeing like Gojo's reaction emotionally to it, in terms of would he be filled with rage because of how much Yaga means to the Tokyo school and the students? Would he be kind of sad because obviously this is the guy who really brought him in into the world of being a sorcerer and helped kind of guide Gojo into being like who he is and just like his mindset going forward? And he also was a guy that respected Gojo's kind of opinion and how he felt towards like the current society of Jujutsu. So that's going to be very key moving forward. As for Nanami, I expect pretty much Gojo to be kind of disappointed with hearing what he's going to hear, and obviously Nobara, I think the same thing. Honestly, me at this point, I don't expect Nobara to come back. I feel like it's personally too late, because if she does come back, I don't see what she can really do other than obviously help us, and just the way things have been kind of written, I think we know by now she's definitely gone. And as for Yuki, I think he's not really gonna have much of a big gripe with Yuki dying, not in the sense that he didn't care for her, but mainly he probably barely even knew who she was. But the fact that he'll understand that they took out a special grade sorcerer of someone on the level of Yuki, he's probably gonna be even more potent on trying to get people ready and set to get ready for these big matches, especially mentally. Like mentally, they have to be 100%, no mistakes going forward, because Sukuna and Kenjaku would definitely capitalize on that. Turn over to Kenjaku and Sukuna side of things. Look, this is the perfect time to have the hand era backstory. I don't think we need like 20 pages or 20 chapters, I should say, of a hand era backstory. But Gege, if you can give us like 6 or 7, because you gotta understand, Gege is very fast paced in terms of how he tells the stories. It's pretty much blunt and to the point, unless you're trying to keep things a mystery, which has always been a big factor and an aspect of the story of JJK. But we need that, especially since the start of the Cunning Games. We've been kind of getting a hint at the here and there with these mini flashbacks with Yorozu, the quick picture of Sukuna in the Sendai colony. Obviously with Ryu and Uro, we kind of got some backstory on them a little bit. Kashimo, of course. So I feel like it would be perfect if we kind of take time to actually flesh out that Heian era period led by Kenjaku's point of view, because we've never seen him in that time span other than when he was helping out Kashimo and he was giving out these binding vow deals of coming back to life. I would want to see like the whole process of how he gets these bodies, how he met Sukuna, how he found Sukuna at a weakened state of where he was willing to have a binding vow with Sukuna and Sukuna actually accepted it, and how did Sukuna know that this guy is actually going to be useful to me. Like the whole process, I feel like we should be able to see that going forward. Especially this would add more to Sukuna's character and just his overall feelings towards Kenjaku. And then we know about Urame, who is Sukuna's right hand man or right hand woman, whatever. We know that's what her role is. Whatever Sukuna wants or he agrees to, or what he likes, she pretty much feels the same way. And I would personally like to see Urame's character before she met Sukuna and why she's so dedicated and pretty much praises Sukuna as if he's a god so much. I want to see the whole backstory between these three characters that have been the three biggest key factors towards the final end of JJK. Switching back over to the other side of things, I definitely see Gojo is going to help Yuji also with the Book of Souls that he got from Yuki, and he's going to help Yuji kind of figure out the best way of getting Megumi out of Sukuna, because we know Yuji said himself that he had ideas, he had plans of saving Megumi. Now, I think with Gojo free, this makes things a lot easier for him, because now he's going to have another guy who's incredibly intelligent to help figure out like the soul and how to break him out and whatnot. And something I see happening is actually Gojo and Yuji are going to go up against Sukuna, but that's not going to be the key fight. I feel like Gojo and Yuji are going to have a plan of getting Megumi out of Sukuna first. And once they're able to do that, I think Yuji and Megumi are kind of going to back off, leave Gojo for Sukuna, and then they're going to get into their epic final clash, because that has to be something that needs to be done. And I think Yuji needs, at least narratively, story-wise to me, he needs to be the one to save Megumi, if Megumi is able to get saved, because that would mean a lot for Yuji if he kind of repays all the times that Megumi has saved him. And also Megumi said multiple times that if you're going to start with saving people, save me. So it's only right if Yuji's going to be the one to help be the catalyst in saving Megumi. Obviously, we know our guys are going to be preparing for December 24th, and Kenjaku and Sukuna are going to be doing the same thing. I feel like part of me feels Kenjaku as a character, he did say that Geto made a mistake when he wanted to fight Yuta at pretty much getting rid of almost half of the curses he had, and that was the reason as to why he lost to Yuta. But now I feel like part of me wants to believe if we're going to be using all of these characters to fight these main three, I don't see really all of them being able to kind of do group fights, because obviously we know we need Gojo versus Sukuna to be a 1v1. And I don't personally think a character like Urame would need multiple characters to take out. Now granted, I got stocks in Urame as a powerful sorcerer, but looking at our cast, there's no reason for, let's say for hypothetical, that Maki, if Maki's going against Urame, at most maybe she might need one other person to help. I don't think if you have Maki on your squad and you're going to be against Urame, you're going to need 3 other people. That sounds like overkill. So I feel like Kenjaku is going to either two things, and one of them is going to be like a surprise or whatnot. Kenjaku is either going to have multiple cursed spirits, like similar to Geto, but not as much as Geto did in Volume 0, or, and they're all going to be special grade, by the way, or what he's going to do is he's going to be having sorcerers that he has hidden kind of be a part of their army and deal with some of the quote-unquote extras other than the powerful sorcerers that we have. That's really all I can really think of in terms of how the final battle is going to be set on their side of things. As for Sukuna, Sukuna's job is very easy, and I know what he's going to do. He's going to either remain in 5 fingers, because we know about him being lonely and that whole the one at the top alone trope in terms of strength. He's going to eat all 5 of his fingers when he fights Gojo, and that's exactly what he wants to do, because I feel like he personally wants to see how strong is Gojo up against my full capacity of strength. And then the quote-unquote souvenir that Kenjaku gave Sukuna, I'm really interested in seeing what that's going to do, other than maybe, I guess, give Sukuna his old school drip back, because even power-wise, I don't really see the need for it, unless he hid some of the 5 fingers in there, and that's where they are. Because even thinking about it, I don't think it's really going to be that crucial in terms of making Sukuna strong. Last thing I want to touch on He is the wild card of this entire thing, because there's no way his selfish desire for battle is going to allow for him to just be another member of war. Kashimo is the biggest question mark in this whole thing, because we know he wants to fight Sukuna and he wants it to be a 1v1. He does not want help fighting. That's obviously been his motive, and he's been promised it by Hikari. Now here's where the problem is going to be probably difficult, because Kashimo in this whole group, he's the biggest one that's like a red flag, because I don't think he's going to turn on us, but he's probably going to be at some point kind of frustrated with waiting, because he wants his damn battle with the King of Curses. But now we have to wonder, how is that going to affect Gojo's plans? Is Kashimo going to interfere with Gojo's plans, and is he going to have to fight Gojo? That would be kind of a sick battle for Gojo to come back to. Hikari's stance. I feel like Hikari as a person, he's going to be 10 toes down with his promises. If he says he's going to do something for somebody, he wants it to be completed. He wants it to be fulfilled. Whether he succeeds or not, in terms of Kashimo wanting it or not, he at least wants to say, hey, I did it for you. So that conversation is going to be really intriguing as to how it's going to happen, because I feel like if there is a disagreement and Kashimo is pissed because he might not be able to get his battle with Sukuna, he's going to start fighting us. He might not fight Hikari because he knows what Hikari promised him, but he might fight some of the other characters. And I think if they're going to have a plan for this, and they want, and I feel like Geki kind of owes us this, we still haven't seen Kashimo's curse technique. There's going to be a plan where Kashimo is just going to be thrown out there to fight Sukuna. He's just kind of going to be not necessarily a decoy, but he's going to be kind of the catalyst in getting this thing started, because I don't know how he's going to do it where you're going to get a 1v1 with this Sukuna, because we all know Kashimo, he can't touch Sukuna right now. As with the 10 shadows, there's just no way. But he kind of, his curse energy, the way he uses it, it is in a sense a move that doesn't really have a weakness. I mean, it's gonna hit its target no matter what, and it's gonna do a crazy amount of damage taking off a limb. So I'm not really sure, but I do know Kashimo is going to be the hardest character to predict in this entire final sequence. If you're wondering what type of matchups I was also thinking of while this is all happening, you can kind of go back to the video I did about 2 or 3 weeks ago where I talked about the people that could face Sukuna and Kenjaku. Obviously, with some of the recent events, a couple of them characters ain't gonna make it to the final sequence. So my stance is pretty much the same on who I think is going to fight Kenjaku and Sukuna. Obviously, just to give kind of like a heads up before you go into it, I did have a team led by Yuta and obviously a team led by Yuji, but you know, I didn't include Gojo in that. So yeah, go ahead and check that out. You can kind of get my thought process as to who I think is going to fight who and what's going to happen. But this is obviously a predictions video. It's a thought process. It's just my overall discussion with how everyone feels about what's going to happen next. And we have a long time till the next chapter. So go ahead and leave a comment down below on what you want to see or what you're predicting to happen in the next couple chapters when we jump back into the story. Just so I can see like what are people's expectations going into the final arc per se. Obviously, if you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already. Check out the second channel for other things anime and manga. I'll holler at y'all in the next one. Peace. How I got my choice to